I have some more riddles for you today. Let's start with the easy ones for a warm-up. Can you find the odd one out? Yep, here it is. Here's another one. Find an odd one out here then. Perfect, here it is. How about this one? Right here. Did you find it? And it's getting harder. What about the odd one out here? Look, it's this one. All the other hands are the right ones, and this one is the only left hand. Now I'll show you two pictures. Your task is to find 5 differences between them. Ready? Here they are. How many did you spot? Let's do it one more time. Find 5 differences here. Keep your eyes wide open. So did you manage to do it? I think you're now prepared for more hardcore tasks. Let's start with decoding. Detective Callum has been searching for a missing girl, Riley, for 3 weeks. He was in his office going through the case for the 100th time when he got an anonymous email saying, "Can you guess what's written here?" It's just written in reverse order. If you read it from right to left, the message turns into, "The girl is in a hidden room beneath the Central Cafe. Bring $500 and I will tell you the passcode." Someone robbed a bank, and Detective Callum was leading the investigation. There were 2 robbers, but the police managed to catch only one of them, Dante. Dante refused to name his accomplice, but the police had 3 suspects, Bree, Ivory, and Ronan. Detective Callum took a brief look at them and knew exactly who the second robber was. Who was it, and how did he know? It's Ivory. Look, she has the exact same tattoo on her wrist as Dante. Holland went to work and asked her boyfriend, Kyler, to walk the dog. Kyler agreed, but then his friend called him and suggested to come over to play a new video game. So, Kyler decided to skip the dog walk and went straight to his friends. Holland and he met right outside the house when they were both going back home. Kyler said that he'd walked the dog and then went to play with his friend. But Holland knew that he was lying. How? It's winter, so just look at the footprints. There are Holland's footprints on the snow going both ways, and Kyler's footprints going both ways too, but there are no footprints of the dog. Someone in a little town was stealing bicycles. Every time someone's bike was stolen, the owner would find a business card with 2 emojis printed on it. The police had 3 main suspects, Ocean Walker, Rebecca Smith, and Damian Jones. Who is the robber? The emojis signify the name. They are a wave and a person walking, so the robber must be Mr. Ocean Walker. On Wednesday, after a break, Nash came to his desk and found a short love note written in red ink. It wasn't signed, but Nash had 3 girls in mind, so he asked each of them if she had written him the note. Layla said that she'd been chatting with her friends and didn't write any notes. Dawn said that she was busy all break finishing her homework. Oakley said that she had been in the bathroom and had just come back. Who do you think wrote the note? look, Oakley's hands are covered in ink. It's blue ink, but still. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Adley was kidnapped and woke up in a dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but they all looked dangerous. Behind one door, there were many little robots that were ready to attack her. Behind the second door, there were 3 trained tigers. Behind the third door, there were 3 big and very hungry dogs. Which way should Adley choose to get out safely? The best choice must be the first door. Although they're robots, they're still super small and probably can't cause her much harm. Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone had stolen all the money from the cashier's desk. A cook said that he was working in the kitchen and didn't have any free time. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't see anything. The waiter said that there was a suspicious visitor peeking around. Who do you think stole the money? The restaurant was still closed and there couldn't be any visitors, so the waiter must have lied and is probably guilty. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not to let suspicious people or folks under 21 in. Take a look at ID cards and help him decide if he can let each visitor in or not. Here's the first one. What do you think? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, here's the next visitor. What do you say? June 31st does not exist. There are just 30 days in June, so nope. What about this guy? Something is wrong once again. Even though February 29th theoretically exists, there was no February 29th in 1977. It's every year that can be divided by 4. Okay, what do you think about this girl? I don't see anything suspicious about her. Here's another candidate for the club. What do you think? Well, he is 22, and he seems fine to me. Let him in. A student was having an oral chemistry exam and was struggling with his last task. His professor decided to help him and have some fun, so he said that instead of the task, the student could guess his daughter's name. He only had one guess, but there was a hint. He wrote down several numbers: 32, 10, 14, 16. What's the professor's daughter's name? It's a chemistry class and chemistry professor, so there must be something related to chemistry. Look, there's even a periodic table in the background to help you. The 32nd element is germanium, or Ge, and the 10th one is neon, or Ne, and the 14th one is silicon, or Si, and finally, the 16th element is sulfur, or S. Together, they form the name Genesis. A bank was robbed, but they couldn't find the robber. A week later, at night, Detective Callum woke up from a call from a local shop's owner. He said that he found the money under his terrace. Detective Callum arrived, but there was only half of the money stolen. The man said that he had seen a man by his shop a week ago. It was a full moon, so he could see that the man had red hair and was wearing a dark hoodie. Still, the shop owner was arrested. Why? The shop owner said it was a full moon a week ago, but look, it's a full moon right now, so the man must be lying about something. In history class, students were asked to prepare a presentation about their ancestors. Edwin told about his great-great-grandpa who moved to New York and started as a salesman and then built a huge business. He even showed a photograph of his young grandpa in New York, but no one believed Edwin's story. Why? Even though the picture is black and white and looks old, old New York looks very much like modern New York, with dozens of skyscrapers. The class noticed and figured out that it definitely wasn't a real photo. Royce called the police and reported that someone had robbed his house. Detective Callum arrived and asked Royce to tell exactly what happened. Royce said that he had walked into his room and saw someone getting out of the window. It was still open because Royce didn't care to close it or touch anything before the police arrived. He checked his wardrobe and found that his savings had been stolen. Detective Callum closed the case. Why? The robber couldn't go out the window without stepping on the bed, but the bed is perfectly made, so it looks like no one was leaving through the window. Kaya was studying in the library. She went to the bathroom and left her things on the desk. When she returned, she found that her wallet had been stolen. She called the police and they interrogated the 3 students who were also in the library. Andre said that he had left the library right after Kaya to get a drink from the vending machine and hadn't touched any of her things. Poppy said that she was studying the whole time and not paying attention to anything. Rhea said that she was in the other part of the library looking for a book she needed and hadn't seen anything suspicious either. Who stole the wallet? It was Andre. He said that he had left to get a drink in a vending machine, but look, there's no drinks in the vending machine, only snacks. A young man named Colton was living with his best friend Cassidy. One morning, he called the police because Cassidy wasn't breathing. He said that he'd been working all day and had returned home late, so he hadn't seen her or talked to her for over a day. In the morning, he found her in bed like that. Last night, Cassidy had a headache and had to take many pills, so maybe that was the reason. Colton was immediately arrested. Why? Colton obviously didn't communicate with Cassidy, but he still somehow knew what she was doing in the evening. He must have come up with all of it, as he is probably guilty.
Okay, well, let's have a little warm-up. How many characters do you see on the screen? Count each one. There are 8 big ones, and I hope you notice 2 little ones over there. So, the answer is 10. Now, look at this picture and try to find the odd image. No, it's not my picture. Yes, it's right here. Another one for you. Pay attention. Look, here it is. Now, let's make it harder. Here's a picture of many animals. Can you find 2 that are exactly the same? Here's one, and here's the other. Can you find 2 emojis that look the same here? Look, here they are. I hope you're ready. Here's a riddle for you. Adley came to a cafe to study. She ordered a hot chocolate and a croissant, She added a bit of sugar to her drink, started to drink it, and noticed there was a fly in her cup. Adley asked the waiter to get a new cup of hot chocolate. 1 minute later, the waiter brought it to her. Adley took a sip and exclaimed, It's not a new drink, you just took the fly out. How did she understand it? Do you remember that Adley put some sugar in her hot chocolate? Well, the supposedly new drink was already sweet. Delilah went missing. The police had 3 suspects. The first one was her friend, Ellery, who was the last person spotted with Delilah. Ellery said they had gone shopping together, but afterwards they both went home. Delilah's boyfriend, Walt, said the girl hadn't come home, and he assumed she stayed at Ellery's place. The last suspect was Delilah's father, who lived in another city. He said he didn't even know he had a daughter. Who should the police arrest? They should arrest Delilah's father. He said he didn't know he had a daughter, but there's a picture of Delilah in his house. Boy, he's some father, huh? On a rainy evening, Kaya came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar. How rude! She asked her siblings who had done that. Laura said she had been working out in her room and she didn't even eat sweets. Sienna said she would never eat someone else's chocolate. Harley said that she had been outside watering plants in the garden. She had just come home herself. Who lied? I'd say it was Harley. Hey, it was raining outside, so she didn't really need to water the plants. Esme was walking in the forest and guess what? Got lost. She tried to find her way back, but instead, she stumbled across a witch's house. She petted a black cat and asked the witch to take her home. But the witch had a riddle for Esme. I'll do my bad witch impression here. Look, there are 10 pencils. They are in this order. 1 pencil, 2 pencils, and then 3 and 4. Arrange them in reverse order, from 4 to 1, by moving only 1 pencil. Okay, enough of that. How can Esme do it? Esme should take the third pencil from the group of 4 and put it between the first pencil and the group of 2. Okay, now I have a maze for you. It's amazing! Can you find the way out? Yup, here it is. Help this mouse find its way to the cheese. It should go this way. Now, let's test how attentive you are. Look, here's a ball and 3 cups. I'll put the ball in here in the middle cup. Your task is to watch the ball and then tell me where it is. Ready? Go. So, where is the ball? Look, it's here. Did you get it? Now, I have 4 cups, and I'll be moving faster. I put the ball right here. Watch it. Where do you think it is? It's in here. Would you make a good detective? I have some cases for you to crack. A young girl, Juniper, was spending her evening reading a book. She didn't eat anything. She didn't drink anything. Still, she suddenly felt bad and called the doctor. It turned out she got poisoned. But how? Juniper occasionally licked her fingers when she needed to turn a page. The poison was on the book's pages. Another girl, Cicely, was poisoned too and brought to the hospital. The examination showed that she hadn't eaten or drunk anything that day. Can you figure out what poisoned her? Cicely didn't eat anything, but look, she's wearing lipstick. That's what contains poison. The police just have to figure out who gave the girl this product. Miss Virginia Dell called the police and reported that her diamond necklace had been stolen from her room. Someone had broken in by smashing the window. A detective came to her house and saw that the window was indeed shattered and the room was a mess. Do you think someone really robbed the lady, or was the whole thing staged? No one robbed Mrs. Dell. If the window had been broken from the outside, there would be glass on the floor. But the floor is clean, which means the window was broken from the inside, probably by Ms. Dell herself. During summer break, Penny's friends invited her to go camping. Penny didn't like such activities, but she also didn't want to admit that she'd rather stay at home watching TV. So she said that her parents had invited her to go to Greece with them. In reality, she stayed at home and binge-watched TV shows. Her family sent her some pictures from their vacation. Penny photoshopped herself into these photos and sent them to her friends. But when they saw the pictures, they realized that Penny wasn't in Greece. How did they figure it out? Penny is wearing the same outfit in every photo. It looks very suspicious. Mrs. Lawrence had 3 teenage daughters, Bonnie, Cassidy, and Sierra. They were all grounded and couldn't leave the house. Still, a neighbor saw one of the girls in the mall. Mrs. Lawrence came home and asked the girls what they'd been doing. Bonnie said she had been reading all day. Cassidy said that she had been painting in her room. Sierra said she'd spent the day in the garden and had just returned home. Which of the girls was in the mall? Both Cassidy and Sierra have some dirt on their shoes. That's okay for Sierra since she was in the garden. But Cassidy said she hadn't left her room, which means she lied. Yvette always wanted to get a cat, but her mom didn't allow her to have one. Once the girl found a kitten in the street and brought it home. She knew her mom would make her take it to the shelter, so she decided to hide the animal. Yvette managed to keep it for 2 weeks without her mom noticing anything. But one morning, Yvette's mom walked into her daughter's room and realized a cat lived there. So, how did she figure it out? Yvette is wearing shorts, and her legs are all scratched. Ned works in a club. His job is to check people's ID cards and not to let inside anyone suspicious or people younger than 21. Take a look at these ID cards and help Ned decide who won't get into the party today. So, what do you think about this woman here? She seems fine. Let her pass. Now take a look at this guy. What's your verdict? He lives in Wonderland. I've never heard of such a city. Let him go back to Wonderland. No clubbing tonight. What about this girl? What do you think? She seems okay. Here's another one. What would you say about her? What's your verdict? I'd say pass. What about this young lady? The month and date of her birthday seem to be reversed. I'd say something is wrong with her ID. Okay, and how about this one? Yes or no? He's just 17 years old. Definitely a no-no. Okay, how about something a bit harder? Rhett was driving to a neighboring city when one of his car tires went flat. He stopped to change it, but accidentally dropped all the 4 bolts used to fasten the wheel down the drain. Butterfingers. The guy didn't have any extra bolts to fix the wheel and to drive to the nearest service station. It was also a deserted road. No one traveled there, and Rhett's phone had run out of battery. What can this guy do to fix his car and get to the service station? Well, there's one solution. He can take 1 bolt from each of the other 3 wheels and use those 3 bolts to attach the 4th wheel. It must be enough to reach the place where he can get qualified help. Neve is taking part in a lottery. She has all the winning numbers written on a piece of paper. She can still participate and no one will stop her. But if Neve participates, she will have the same chances of winning as everyone else. Why? Neve just wrote down all the possible numbers that might be drawn. She still doesn't know which ones exactly will be chosen, so it doesn't affect her chances. Now imagine you're a bus driver. This bus driver is driving through a small town. There are 7 passengers inside the bus. At the first stop, the driver picks up 5 more passengers and 1 person gets off the bus. At the second stop, the driver picks up 8 more passengers and 9 get off the bus. At the third stop, the rest of the passengers get off the bus. How old is the bus driver? Well, it seems confusing, but the answer is simple. As I said in the beginning, you are the bus driver. So, how old are you? Wow, that old?
Tom was a college student. He worked as a delivery guy in his spare time to earn his living. One day, he got a task to deliver a mysterious black box to a seemingly abandoned lab. He picked up the box from an office building downtown. But when Tom tried to leave, he saw 3 doors. There was a bottomless pit behind the first door. Behind the second door, there was a tiny elevator. And the third door led to a room with no exit. What should Tom choose? Door number 2 is fine. Even if Tom is afraid of confined spaces, he can still get to the street and escape. Tom managed to break free and decided to deliver the box as soon as possible. At some point, he stopped to tie his shoelaces and put the box on a bench nearby. But when he finished with his shoelaces, he noticed that the box had disappeared. Tom looked around and saw a thief running away with the box. They were wearing a mask, so Tom couldn't see their face. Tom followed the thief to the library and saw 4 people in the reading room. Can you help Tom decide which one is the thief? This woman, the thief, had a scar on her left hand. Tom asked the woman to return the box. She said, "Okay, but first, you have to solve my riddle. Tomorrow, I am surely here. Yesterday, you can find me as well. Today, I am gone. What am I?" Tom gave his answer. The woman gave him the box and ran away. What did he say? The correct answer is the letter R. Tom was very hungry, so he decided to buy some food at a coffee shop nearby. The name of the coffee shop was 7 Lanterns, but Tom only noticed 5 lanterns hanging outside. Shelley, the owner of this coffee shop, knew about this mistake and could easily correct it, but she didn't. Why? When the wind blew away 2 lanterns some time ago, Shelley wanted to replace them. But before she could do that, she noticed that more and more people had started to come into her cafe. They told her that 2 lanterns were missing, and then they usually stayed to have some coffee. Tom bought a sandwich, left it on a table, and went to the bathroom to wash his hands. When he came back, he saw 3 people standing by his table, and the sandwich was gone. Can you guess who ate Tom's food? This guy over there. He left some crumbs. Tom decided to take a bus to get to the lab in time, but as soon as he took a seat, Tom noticed a vampire among the passengers. Can you see the vampire too? This woman over there. She's wearing an oversized hoodie to hide her sensitive skin from sunlight. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's a vampire, but the absence of any shadow is 100% proof. When Tom tried to pay for his bus ticket, he realized he had left his wallet at the coffee shop. Luckily, the driver said, "I won't call the police if you can solve my riddle." Tom agreed to this deal and listened to the riddle attentively. I make loud sounds when I change. After I change, I get bigger, but way less. What am I? Have you guessed? It's popcorn. Tom came back to the coffee shop to get his wallet back. Josh, the barista, claimed that he hadn't seen any wallets. Shelley, the owner, said that she had recently seen a suspicious customer with 2 wallets. And Bill, the customer with 2 wallets, said that the second wallet belonged to his wife. Who's lying? The barista. Take a look at his feet. He's standing on Tom's wallet. Shelley and Josh didn't want to involve the police, and Tom suggested playing a game. He told the barista, "I won't call the police if you solve my riddle. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What is it?" Unfortunately, the barista couldn't figure out the right answer and went to jail. The correct answer is footsteps. Tom was running out of time and decided to get to the lab by taxi. But his application went crazy and sent Tom this weird maze. The instructions said, if you want to know the numbers on the license plate of your taxi, solve this riddle. Can you help Tom? If we go through this maze from start to finish, we'll get to 517. Tom found his taxi and hit the road. The driver stopped in the middle of nowhere and took out a weird gadget. He opened a portal that transported Tom to the top of a mountain. There, he met his own evil twin from a parallel universe, and this twin wanted the box. Tom started running and fell into an ice cave with 3 tunnels. There was a hungry cougar inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel was full of bats that fed on human blood. And a dozen evil wizards were waiting for Tom inside the third tunnel. Which way should he choose? The second one. The bats are sleeping because it's daytime. Tom reached a little village in the woods and hid in a cabin. But then, he noticed something very creepy and ran away from that village immediately. What did he see? This glove over there is not actually a glove. This cabin probably belongs to zombies, not people. Tom found some road, stopped a truck, and asked the driver to take him to the nearest airport. But the man asked Tom to solve a riddle first. I am known to bring bad luck when you see me in the dark, but I don't like the rain. But one thing's for sure, you won't hear me bark. What am I? What should Tom answer to get a ride? A black cat. At the airport, Tom tried to buy a plane ticket back to New York, but he didn't have any money. Suddenly, Lily, a famous blogger and influencer, invited Tom into the business class lounge. She was celebrating her birthday with her friends. Unfortunately, their magic knife could only make 3 cuts. They couldn't figure out how to split the cake into 8 pieces. Can you? First, they should cut the cake in half. Then they can make another cut so that there are 4 equal pieces. Now they need to cut the cake sideways through the middle so that it has 2 layers. Now everybody has a piece except for Tom. But Lily gave him a more generous gift. She bought the guy a ticket to New York. Finally, Tom brought the mysterious box to the abandoned lab. He noticed a metal door and tried to open it. But the door was locked. A red sign appeared on a little screen next to the door. It asked for a password. There was a hint on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you help Tom crack the code? There are 17 spaces. After reading the number out loud, you'll get it. Type number 2, then number 4 3 times, number 6 5 times, and after that, 7 eighths. Voila! The light changed to green, and Tom entered the room. A scientist met Tom inside the lab. He locked all the doors as soon as Tom got inside. The man told Tom, "You're not going anywhere until I make sure the delivery is fine." But the box was empty. The scientist got furious and offered Tom to choose between 3 dangerous options to escape. There was a room with a wet floor and hanging wires behind the first door. Hungry monsters were waiting behind the second door. And there was a portal leading to an open space behind the third door. What door should Tom choose to survive? The first one. The wires don't touch the floor, and he can easily crawl under them. The scientist congratulated Tom and offered him another riddle to test his intelligence. Take away my first letter, and I still sound the same. Take away my last letter, I still sound the same. Take away my middle letter, and I will still sound the same. I am a 5-letter word. What am I? Do you know the correct answer? Empty. The scientist was satisfied and confessed that he had invented pills of immortality. He promised to give them to Tom if he succeeded in choosing the right box. There were 3 boxes and only one of them contained the pills. Each box had a statement on it, but only one was true. Can you help understand where the pills are? If the pills were in the first box, there would be 2 true statements, and if the pills were in the third box, there would also be 2 true statements. But since we only need 1 true statement, the pills can only be inside the second box. Tom opened the box and saw 4 pills. 2 of them were red, and 2 were blue. The scientist explained that Tom should eat 1 red pill and 1 blue pill at the same time to gain immortality. An overdose could cause the opposite effect. The scientist decided to give Tom 4 pills just in case one of them got lost. Tom put the pills in his pocket and left the lab. Suddenly, his evil twin opened a portal and grabbed Tom. He blindfolded him and threw him into an airtight room. Tom could move and had some oxygen, but for a very short time. So, he took the pills out. Unfortunately, he couldn't distinguish the colors or tell any difference between the 4 pills. What should Tom do to become immortal and save his life? The guy should break the pills and eat half of each pill. After winning the lottery, Gerald got very rich. He bought a huge villa and hired an art dealer to invest in some masterpieces. The art dealer convinced Gerald to buy a very expensive antique statue for his collection. One day, Gerald's daughter came to visit him. He boasted about the statue, but his daughter began to laugh. She said that scammers had deceived Gerald. Why did she say so? There's a small engraving on the statue. It says, "Made in China." Wendy is the president of the local reading club. Its members usually gather in her home because it's large and beautiful. But one evening, someone hit Wendy on the head in her library after the club meeting was over. The girl didn't see who it was. The next day, police officers questioned 3 suspects. Melanie said that she had left the meeting earlier that night. She had a night flight to Paris. Kelly said that she had been the last person to leave Wendy's house, but she hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Amy was absent that day because it was her husband's birthday. Who is lying? Melanie. If she had a flight to Paris, why isn't she there? Take a look at this picturesque field. Can you see anything weird? This sunflower over here. Josh worked as a security guard at a large international airport. One day, he received a call from the cleaning staff. They found someone's dog. Josh had to figure out who was the dog's owner. Take a look at these passengers. Can you identify the dog's owner among them? This guy over here has a bone in his bag. and there's dog hair on his pants. He must be the owner. Take a look at this pattern. Can you spot the odd emoji? This parrot over here has different wings. Jason has recently been hired as an art gallery assistant. He got a large delivery one morning. 5 rare paintings from the Middle Ages. Jason called his boss immediately and told her that 2 of the 5 paintings are fake. How has he figured it out? There's a skyscraper in the background of this painting, and this picture seems to be authentic, but look at the sky. There's an aircraft flying among birds. Take a look at this picture. Can you find the odd emoji? These guys over here. After a long road trip, Lily finally arrived at her friend's wedding venue in another city. The food looked very appetizing and Lily was starving, so she headed for the table. But suddenly, the lights went off and Lily fainted. She woke up the next day with a terrible headache, just like all the other guests. None of them remembered anything about how the party ended. Look at these 2 pictures. They were taken before and after the lights went out. Can you guess what happened at the party? The balloons popped. Someone had filled them with sleeping gas. This person wanted everyone to fall asleep. It might have been done to help the bride run away because she's absent this morning. Jill is an art teacher. One morning, she entered her art studio and got very surprised. The entire wall and the students' drawings were stained with paint. Jill interviewed 3 suspects. The cleaning lady hadn't cleaned the class the day before because she'd had a day off. Jill's student Rosie said that she had left the studio at 6 p.m. At that time, everything was okay. Another student, Rick, confessed that he had brought his girlfriend to the studio to show off his paintings, but they left at 8 p.m. Who is responsible for this mess? The cat! It got into the studio through an open window. Take a look at this picture. Why did he tie his friend down? It's a full moon. His friend began turning into a werewolf and the guy got scared. 2 guys are trying to get Hillary's attention by showing off their money. The first man sends her a selfie of him near a private jet, and the second sends a photo of him wearing a pilot's uniform and flying a jumbo jet. Whose salary is higher? Pilots earn good money, so the second guy is definitely well off, and the first guy probably just works at the airport. 4 artists gathered in a park to paint landscapes. Having finished his first drawing, Bill went to the bathroom. When Bill returned, he found out that his drawing was ruined. He was very upset and questioned his friends. Steven didn't see what happened. He was away buying coffee for everyone. Dylan didn't look at the paintings. He was distracted by a conversation with a beautiful woman. Kelly said that she'd been painting her own portrait in another part of the park. Who's lying? Kelly, if she had been painting, why is her canvas blank? Steven had a rough day at college, so he decided to relax and went to his favorite restaurant with other students. Sam, Jill, and Jules each ordered a cappuccino. Rebecca, Peter, and Helen each ordered an espresso. What drink did Steven order? Cappuccino or espresso? Espresso. Steven has 2-letter E's in his name, just like Rebecca, Peter, and Helen. Can you spot anything weird in this picture? This coconut doesn't look as fresh as the others. Henry was walking along the street. Suddenly, a witch appeared in front of him. She opened a portal, grabbed Henry, and took him to her castle. Henry asked her to let him go, but the witch said,
Now you will serve me forever.
Henry had a notebook and a pen in his pocket. He offered the witch a deal. If I write your weight in this notebook, will you let me go? The witch was very intrigued and agreed. Henry wrote something down, and she had to let him go. What did he write? As promised, Henry wrote your weight. Can you guess the food by these emojis? It's sushi. How about this one? Hot chocolate. Let's take it up a notch. Can you guess the dish by these emojis? It's pizza. How about this? It's a cheeseburger. Can you guess the food by these emojis? It's fruit ice. How about this combination? Any ideas? That's right, it's French fries. The next product. You probably like it hot. A peanut butter cookie. How about this combination? That's right, it's a salad. Jack bought his girlfriend an expensive dress for her birthday. He left the dress in his wardrobe and left the house. When he returned, he saw that the dress was gone. Only 3 people were at home that day, and he questioned them. Jack's sister Laura said that she'd been cleaning the house since morning. Jack's mother Rose had been planting flowers in the garden. And Jack's aunt Nina had been cooking a birthday dinner all day long. Who stole the dress? It was Jack's mother. There are no flowers in the garden. Take a look at this picture. Can you find the odd emoji? This guy over here. One day, Mr. Blue, Mr. Red, and Mr. White met for dinner. When they took off their jackets, Mr. Blue drew everyone's attention to the fact that each of them was wearing a shirt whose color was different from their last name. The man in the white shirt looked surprised and said, "Yeah, Mr. Blue, you're right." Can you figure out what color each man was wearing? Mr. Blue can be wearing only a white or red shirt, but we know for sure that a different man is wearing a white shirt. This means that Mr. Blue must be wearing a red shirt. Mr. White could be wearing a blue or a red shirt, but the red shirt is already taken by Mr. Blue. Therefore, Mr. White is wearing a blue shirt. That means Mr. Red is wearing a white shirt. How about this picture? Do you see any odd emojis here? This one over there. Jessica was a famous art dealer. Many painters were dreaming of working with her. One day, she entered an art class and noticed a stunning landscape. "Wow, who painted this masterpiece?" she asked. 3 artists came up to her. Each claimed he was the author of the painting. Can you help Jessica identify the real author? It's the guy over here. His palette contains exactly the colors that we see in the painting. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot what's wrong here? Dolphins don't swim in forest lakes. Once, a strict king ruled his kingdom. The magical town where he lived was surrounded by high walls. No one was allowed to leave the town, and anyone who wanted to enter the town had to have special documents. If they didn't, they were sent away. The Magic Kingdom was connected with the rest of the world with a wooden bridge. It was under the watch of the King's Wizard, who drove away all uninvited guests with his magic. He would walk out to check the bridge every 5 minutes, and he would then stay inside for another 5 minutes. To cross the bridge, a person needed 9 minutes, and still, one citizen managed to escape the town. How did he do it? The man was walking across the bridge for about 5 minutes while the wizard was inside. After that, he turned back and started walking toward the town. When he reached the wall, the wizard asked for his documents. The man didn't have any, so he was sent away. Maggie is an art critic. One day, she decided to visit a fancy restaurant famous for its unique art collection. Maggie took a seat and began to study the paintings hanging on the walls. When the waitress approached her table, Maggie asked how old those paintings were. The waitress said that they only had 18th century art pieces in the restaurant. Maggie left that place immediately and wrote an angry review on their website. Liars! Why? Look at this portrait. Do you recognize this face? It's the waitress. It's very unlikely that she's more than 300 years old, unless she's a vampire.